Hello, Terry. How are you? She's way. Hello, Stevie. Good morning. Um, oh, there's always these new features. I see this floating heart here, so I could do all this stuff. I don't know if you guys could see that. Anyway, just having fun. Nicole, you're back for more. Awesome. And so you should be, because got to stay strong and do all that we can do in our bodies. So 2 more live classes I will be doing for 2023. So crazy to think. But yeah, I'm going to show up for 2 more Thursdays. So I'll be here today. I'll be here next week. I don't know about the following week. And I say that because in my experience, I've been teaching for 10 years and well, more since 2010, actually. So 13 years. And what I've experienced is that we think we're going to do this and we say, okay, let's go all the way through December, but there's so few people that come to each class. So we'll see, because I want to stay strong, and we'll see what I decide to do. But you'll know, because you'll receive an email that says we're going to be live today. Hi, Carolyn. Good to have you here. I'm glad you were able to show up and make it, because I know that you reached out to me about that. I have a 12 days giveaway that starts on December 10th. So if you go to my homepage, debbierobinson.com, there should be a link there for it. And gosh, I think that's where it is. Well, it was in my newsletter. It might not be on my homepage yet. Let me see. Okay, well, that'll be put up soon. So anyway, it'll be there. You can actually go and see that at some point. I don't know how. It's on my newsletter. I know that. So many things to do. Anyway, 12 days of giveaways, and then lots of stuff for 2024, on a mission to help you take control of your bone health, or healthy aging and healthy bones. So all of it. Really? Okay, well, we'll see, Nicole, if I go all the way to the new year. Yeah, because like my live classes here at the hospital, I have 5 weeks off between classes in some of my classes, which is just insane for me. And then, what I notice is that over the years of teaching for my own body, I notice the strength and the flexibility and all that happens for me. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I've just got a lot of stuff I'm working on for 2024. Yeah, I'm so glad you're here today too, Carolyn. All right. Anything in particular anybody wants to focus on? Let me know. Let me know what's going on in your body or in your life, because I can actually add some extra things if someone needs. Always focusing on bone health and healthy aging. So both of those things, or all of those things. Ooh, this might need to be a little bit higher. All right. So if there's nothing that anybody has in particular that they'd like to request, then let's get started. And, once I take these off, I'm not going to be able to see well. So get yourself situated, whatever that means for you. Get yourself ready to practice. Get your props that you need, your space ready. Make sure the animals are happy and fed, because for some reason, really interesting, the animals seem to come to us when we are shifting our energy. And the practice of yoga actually is about energy management. We don't think of ourselves always like that. We don't think about the energy of the mind, the energy of the body. If you have a lot of pain in your body, that's a very heavy or low energy frequency, right? Whereas if you're happy and moving and mobile, that's more light and fast-paced energy. So let's manage the energy of our body, keeping ourselves in a really healthy zone so that we can do all the things we want to do in our lives and live as healthy and happy of a life as possible. Today in yoga therapy for osteoporosis, I would like to focus on strength and a lot of different postures. So giving you a framework so that if you're not practicing with me and you show up to your mat, You have a better understanding of what could I do on my back to strengthen my body, my bones, my balance? What could I do if I'm on my belly? What can I do if I'm on all fours? What can I do in a seated position? What can I do in a standing position? So trying to give you a little bit of that. When I first started practicing yoga, even after I had done the 200-hour training, when I did yoga teacher before yoga therapy, I would still show up to my mat and be like, what do? I can't remember, I forgot. So instead of making this a complicated practice that you have to be guided in, of course, I'm here to guide you and I'd love to always do that. But for you to be able to actually show up to your mat and know some postures that are good for strengthening your body, for strengthening balance, for strengthening whatever it is you need. So today I'm going to really kind of reiterate that. My goal always is to teach you how to fish, not just to give you the fish, although I am here to give you fish too, but to teach you to fish, because I want you to take care of you. I'm not always going to be right there with you or live or whatever. You're going to be there with you. So how can you show up for you and do what you need to do for you for the rest of your life? So you'll need today a block, a blanket, and a strap, and a mat. All of those or none of those. So you don't have to have all of these things, but it is good to have this. And then today we're going to begin in one of my favorite ways to begin. One of my favorite ways to begin breath is to put your hands on your body and to feel your body move and to connect your mind to your palms to actually feel the movement of your body. The placement of the hands will be on the heart and on the belly, so you could feel that movement. And I'd like to use the blanket on the ground. So either we're going to use gravity to correct posture here. Try to have no blanket, a very thin blanket, or not too many folds. So depending on how much roundness exists in your upper spine or how forward your head lives on your form, because the head should be on top of the spine, but for many, depending on how many years you haven't worked on posture, you may have that anterior head carriage, a little bit of roundness in the upper spine, a little bit forward aspects of the shoulders. So depending on where you are, that will determine how much blanket you need. So you may need some, or you may need nothing at all. I'm going to do this today without anything. But do whatever's comfortable. Don't do that. Don't not put a blanket there because you think you should force yourself to do that. You still need to be comfortable. Making sure you maintain this integrity in the center of your body, so not collapsing in the front of your spine. You could come down this way or to the side, bringing yourself down onto the ground. Keep your eyes open at first, noticing what you notice. What's the action around you? Is there sound around you, people around you? And even to set yourself up for feeling safe to close your eyes, and then deciding on the blanket, what fold feels better for your head here. Take your body into a fully outstretched position so that you stretch your body glove and feel that. Feel the stretch maybe under the armpits, maybe in the belly, depending on how often you do this or when the last time is you did this. And then flex your feet, flex your wrists. So reaching through the heel of the hand and the heels of your feet. Feel the stretch in your body. And then let's do a little, imagine you're walking or climbing up a ladder, but here in this position. So reach right hand long and slide right foot away from you, stretching the right side. And then do that on the left, slide left leg away, reach long with the left arm. Back and forth. Imagine you're walking. Maybe you'll feel a release or hear a release in your body. And then go ahead and bend your knees. Draw the knees into your chest. Getting your body ready to be in this quiet supine on your back position. When we're on our back, it's called supine. So getting comfortable with this position in your body.
And then bring your feet onto the ground. So if you have low back issues, having your knees bent, letting your feet fall in towards each other is a nice relaxed position for hip joint and for back. So this is a good place to do your beginning. Or you could try to extend the legs and see how that feels in your body. Choosing whatever one works for you, take one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. Then spread your fingers. Let your arms rest alongside your body. And then if you need to do any correction in the upper body, you could press your arms and your head in, lift your upper rib cage away from the floor, slide shoulder blades towards each other and closer to the spine. And then lift your head up, tuck your chin towards your chest, lengthening the back neck. Let your head rest. Dig your heels into the ground if your legs are straight. Lift your calves off, let your spine settle, let your low back settle. Take your jaw, wiggle your jaw back and forth side to side, releasing tension that may exist there from previous stressful situations. Quite often subconscious muscular tension develops in the jaw area. And then let your lips gently touch. Back teeth separate in direction. Inhale all the way back up to center. And exhale into the opposite direction. Inhale back up to center. Exhale, opposite direction. Don't pick your head up. Let it move and find its way from one side to the other. And then bring your head back to neutral. Bring your awareness to your left leg. Let your left leg be heavy. Bring your awareness to your right leg. Let the right leg be heavy. Bring your awareness to your pelvis. Feel the connection of the pelvis, the base of the spine, on the mat, on the ground. And bring your awareness to the low back. Let the low back soften and relax. The middle spine, middle back, relax. Upper back, relax. Your neck, your head. Then bring your awareness to your nostrils as you begin to breathe in. And then follow the breath to your heart, to your chest, to the hand on the chest. Feel the hand rise and fall with breath. Feel the palm rise. Feel the fingertips receive the pressure of your chest as you breathe in, and your chest rises into that palm. Try to feel it in the middle fingertip, the pinky, the palm of the hand, the heel of the hand. And then bring your awareness now down to the palm that's on your belly. Breathe down to the palm on your belly. Notice if you hear any digestive sounding in your body, any gurgling, any bubbles. It's a good sign that your body's going into a relaxation zone, or that the stimulation to the relaxation zone is happening. That's when your body is in a place of digestion. So we're going to do this wave-like pattern to the breath. Breathing into the lower lobes of the lungs, the middle lobes, and the upper. And exhaling that same way, lower, middle, upper. Fully utilizing your diaphragm to do deep diaphragmatic breathing and to oxygenate your body, to bring the breath in as deep as possible and do the deep, most beneficial for health. Close. Take an exhale. Breathe into the hand on your belly. Breathe into the space between the hands. Breathe to the hand on your heart. Exhale, hand on belly, space between, hand on the chest. Inhale, hand on belly, space between, hand on chest. Exhale, hand on the belly, space between, hand on chest. Inhale, belly, space between, chest. Exhale, belly, space between, chest. Inhale, belly, space between, chest. Exhale, belly, space between, chest. Inhale, belly, between, chest. Exhale, belly, between, chest. Inhale, belly, between, chest. Exhale, belly, between, chest. Continue on your own. Slow down the breath if you can. Breathing into the lower, the middle, and the upper lobes of the lungs on the inhale and on the exhale. Feel the belly pressing towards your hands. Feel the movement in your body. Visualize the breath going into the lower lobes, the middle lobes, and the upper lobes. Feel the stretching inside your body from this breath. Finish the breath you're on and do 3 more rounds. Slow them down. Let it be nice, long rounds of breath. Finishing your breath. Slide the hand that's on the heart down to your belly. Both hands are on the belly. Take a couple of breaths down to your hands that are on your belly. Bring your awareness down to your feet. Start to wiggle your toes. Move your feet, your legs. Bend your knees. Start to wiggle the fingers. Take the arms overhead. Stretch your body. And then bring your body onto the side. Come all the way to the side. Take your hands on the ground. Let your head come along for the ride as you push yourself up to seated. And then grab your blanket. So take your blanket and fold your blanket in half, or if you have really tight hips or a tight low back, fold it again so that you're really elevated. Or if you have a bolster, you could sit on a bolster. You want to be comfortable in this position, so get whatever you need for that. When you do come onto your bolster or your blanket, you want to be able to sit nice and tall. So reach back and grab the flesh of the buttocks. So really moving the muscles back so you expose the pelvis, which helps you sit a little bit more nice in alignment in the seated position. Let's move the spine and the 6 ranges of motion. So because of this being yoga therapy for osteoporosis, always paying attention to your safe spinal space. So do this right now. Cannot say this enough. I do this myself, even though I am so aware of this part of my spine. When you do this physical thing here, you actually get more awareness when you're doing your movements. So take the hand underneath your heart, palm faces down. Take the bottom hand right by the belly button, palm faces up. Maintain this space so that if you bend forward in your body, if you go back in your body, if you go to the side in your body, side to side, try to bring your awareness to maintaining this, especially when you come forward. So it happens in the hip joint. You'll move that movement down to the hip and take it out of the spine to stay safe in your body, really for maintaining breakdown in your body for the rest of your life. So take your hands on your thighs. Let's go into flexion and extension, because it is the flexion that can cause the reduction in your safe spinal space. So being as tall as you could be, hold onto your legs. Extension actually extends this position, and it extends the safe spinal space. So you're going to reach tall with your neck, with your throat, reaching the front of the spine, stretching the front of the spine in a back bend. Inhale. As you exhale, let it be your pelvis that rocks back. Let it be the low back that goes into flexion. And if you'd like to add the head, reach your head up towards the sky, stretch the back of your neck as you bring your head down, still maintaining that safe spinal space, not rounding the thoracic spine, only the lower lumbar and the upper cervical. Inhale forward, the whole spine moves. Exhale, flex only cervical and lumbar. Keep thoracic in neutral. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. One more. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's come into lateral or side bending. The goal is to stretch open the side where the arm goes in the air. Hand could be on your shoulder if you have shoulder issues, or the arm could be all the way up if not. Feel the stretch in the side of your waist here. This is lateral flexion. 2 more movements of the spine. You want to make sure you maintain safe spinal space, and you don't try to go so far with your arm in front of your body. That will round the thoracic spine. Keep the shoulder blade gliding across the upper back to help keep the integrity of your upper spine. Go a little farther, come onto the fingertips, let that elbow bend.
And then bring yourself back up. Coming into rotation where we actually want to rotate the thoracic spine, these 12 vertebrae where the ribs are attached. Let it first begin in your neck. So let your head go side to side, looking up and twisting to the side. Feel the stretch in the upper back and neck muscles, the cervical spine. This is where most rotation exists in the spinal bones. The joints of the cervical spine allow for a greater range of rotation. And from a deep safety perspective, the sympathetic branch, the fight-flight zone, is stimulated when we inhale because we need to be able to look around to make sure the coast is clear. So make sure you maintain this range of motion in your spine for nervous system management, for stress management, for managing the internal secretion of cortisol, which is the stress hormone in your body. Now, let the upper body join. So let your elbows go back a little farther. You could take your elbow up as you look back, keeping your elbow up as you look back, feeling the stretch now in the core muscles, the rotational trunk muscles, maintaining your safe spinal space. And then bring yourself into a static hold. So take one hand across, the other hand is on the floor behind you, push down, get tall, look as far back as you can. This is actually you being your own physical therapist, own chiropractor. I feel my bones adjusting in my spine when I do this. Push your pelvis down, tall in your spine when you rotate. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back and out. Let's go to the other side. Hand is across. Push the hand in the back down so you can maintain that lengthening in your spine that's important for safe rotation. Feel your body. Feel what's stretching inside your body. Stretching muscles, stretching the spine. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. So those were the 6 ranges of motion of the spine: flexion, extension, lateral, one side, lateral, the other, rotation, one side, rotation, the other. Always trying to move your spine throughout the day to create the lubrication of the synovial fluids and to keep those muscles strong and limber and the range of motion in your spine. Let's warm up the belly, the low back, and the spine here in Sufi grinds, keeping your spine in a neutral position as we move around. Let's first begin central and counterclockwise. Counterclockwise, starting small, and then moving into a bigger movement. You'll feel the stretch happening in your hips, in your midsection. If you'd like to close your eyes, let your awareness go into your hip joints, into your waist area of your body. You'll feel a lot of that stretching taking place. These are posture muscles, alignment muscles for a healthy spine, for good balance, for trunk support. Inhale when you come forward, exhale when you go back. One more in this direction. And then bring yourself back to center, create that lengthening in your spine again. Now we'll go clockwise. Clockwise circles. Starting small so you can maintain spinal alignment. And then as you start to go bigger, keep that length in your spine. Don't let your head collapse forward. Keep your body lengthened. Use your hands on your legs to create that length in your spine as you start to go a little wider, more forward, more backwards. Close your eyes if you'd like. You could feel more when your eyes are closed. A lot of posterior hip and lateral hip stretching, so you may feel that on the sides of your legs. Important to keep this part of your body strong. And then one more. And then bring yourself back to center. So let's begin the practice and the postures. And I'm going to talk about the positions that we do these in so that you could think the next time you're sitting, you could do this. The next time you're on your back, you could do this. The next time you're in your belly, you could do this. So hopefully you'll start to remember some of the postures because they each have an intention of lengthening, stretching, strengthening, increasing range of motion, making the joints stronger, whatever the intention is of the posture, so that you can do as many of these as possible for as long as possible. So we're in a seated position. Let's begin in the seated position. So the first one we'll come to is a twist. Take one leg straight. Take one leg straight and take the block behind you. So if you'd like to do the same side that I'm doing, I have my right knee bent and my left leg straight. Then I'm going to push my left foot into the floor. Hopefully my feet are not too dirty. I know that should not be of a concern, but I look down and I'm like, wow, are they dirty? Anyway, okay. I am human. And I shouldn't let those things bother me. I know. All right. Reach underneath and get your spine or your pelvis to be, so you feel the bones if you move the flesh away. And then the right leg is bent, the left leg is straight. If you push the foot into the floor, the right foot and the left leg, you're going to activate the posterior chain and turn on those low back muscles and glute muscles to support your low back. Take your right hand on the block behind you. Hold on to the right leg. Push down to get tall. Exhale. It's your rib cage that you want to move. So move the lower rib cage to the right, the middle rib cage to the right, and then the upper. When you get here, lower your shoulders, slide your shoulder blades towards each other, press your shoulder blades forward to get length in your spine, to try to rotate the thoracic spine as much as possible where your ribs are attached. Long neck, tall spine, lifted heart. Breathe down to your pelvis. Take one more breath. And then when you unwind with length in your spine, come back to center. Let's take the right leg straight, left leg is bent. Hold on. When you hold on, you can get tall. Your block moves to the other side now. So you may need a block, you may not. It really depends on the length of your arms in relationship to your torso. We're all built differently. So do what feels appropriate here. Push your right foot into the floor, push your left foot into the floor. Feel that activation and support in the back of the body. Exhale. And then inhaling, lower ribs, middle, and upper into this twist. Push down to get tall. Lengthen your spine. Let your right elbow be elevated. Push down with length in your body. Push down to lengthen. Lower your shoulders, slide your shoulder blades towards each other. Shoulder blades lift forward, heart is lifted. Length and rotation, breathe down to your pelvis. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself all the way out. Bring the soles of your feet together, stretching the inner thighs. And then come out. So in this seated position, let's come to another posture. Take your blanket, bring your tushy on to the blanket. We'll come into Navasana boat pose. This is core. This is going to strengthen quadriceps, hip flexors, and core muscles. Important thing here is that safe spinal space and that you don't come into a collapse or a rounding in the thoracic spine. So feel your sits bones as you move back and forth. Walk your feet closer. Come in with that nice lengthened spine, especially the front. Elbows are out to the side, and then bring your feet off the floor. So you are here in this Navasana boat posture. You could hold on with all your fingers. You could come to one finger holding on, will be more challenging, or come with no hands whatsoever. So all the fingers, one finger or none. Really contract your core like you're hugging your lumbar spine. Lift your heart forward, nice long spine. Make sure you're not collapsing. Try to draw your heart towards your knees. Try to smile. And then go ahead and lower down. Come into a wide leg stance here. You could use your hands behind you, flexing forward if that's in your practice with the hips and not with the spine, or staying right here in this position. Maybe feeling a decent amount of stretch in the legs here. This is weight bearing stretching, so it's going to be a little bit more intense than if you're on your back. So when you're seated or standing, you're putting more pressure down into the muscles when you stretch them. So this wide-legged stretch can be a nice way to stretch your leg muscles in preparation for doing some of those standing postures. And then bring yourself out. So coming from seated, let's do a reverse plank, which is another opportunity here on from our seated position. So taking your hands behind you, again, making sure you maintain the integrity of your spine, not collapsing at all in this. So put your hands wherever you need. They can face towards your buttocks or they could be out to the side. Try to keep the shoulder blades towards each other. Feet are hip distance. Inhale here. Exhale, push your feet into the floor. Lift your pelvis up. Try to come to a neutral position or unbend hip joints, really pushing the feet into the floor, and then push the hands into the floor as well to lift the weight of the rib cage or push the weight of the ribs away from the floor. Push your feet, squeeze your tushy to unbend your hips. This is a tabletop reverse plank, strengthening shoulders, strengthening arms, strengthening the back of your body. If the head gets too heavy, tuck the chin towards the chest. Keep pushing away from the floor with your hands and feet. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself out of this slowly. So this can do a lot to the shoulders. You got to be safe when you do that one. Come into a kneeling position or crisscross leg position to take a break and to stretch the shoulders after that one. So sit in whatever position you need. Take your hands on your shoulders. Bring your elbows forward. Bring them up. Let your head follow. Elbows out to the side. Chin to your chest. And then bring yourself out. So from a kneeling position, or if your knees don't really bend, you may not get to a kneeling position this low, come up to a higher kneeling position. We'll do a posture here that's called camel, that's actually a back bend. So really trying to get the back bend to be in the rib cage or in the thoracic spine here, trying to open as much as possible in order to protect the lumbar from that excessive lordosis or that bending. If you contract your glutes and pull down towards the ground, you'll help to balance that. Now the hand position in camel could be clasped hands, holding onto your elbows, or a really nice variation is to use the fists to push down on the top of your pelvis to maintain this position as opposed to a forward tilt of your pelvis. So do whatever hand position is good for you. You want the shoulder blades together so you get as much of a back bend in this upper spine as possible. You could actually put the block between your ankles so that you can push towards the ankles, really activating that stability of the pelvic area that'll allow you to squeeze the buttocks and point the tailbone down and really protect the low back. Take your hands into whatever position you're going to do for your camel, and let's begin. Exhale, and then inhale to enter. Length and back bend in the upper spine. Squeeze the tushy, draw the tailbone down. Lengthening the front, and especially the vertebra where the heart is, where the rib cage is. Stretch the front of your spine. Slide the shoulder blades back. Push the shoulder blades forward. Open up the front of the vertebra. Hands are down and back. If you're clasping your hands, they're not touching your tushy. They need to be away from your body. Shoulder blades together, lifting the heart. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself out. Come into a rest position. If the block is back there, sitting on the block can be a nice relaxation for the spine, or coming into a crisscross leg position. Doing whatever is a relaxation position for you. Close your eyes. Take your time between each posture to realign, to recalibrate your heart rate, and to rest. Keep your mouth closed to learn to slow down the heart rate with breath. Breathe down to your pelvis, mouth is closed. Noticing the acceleration of heart rate, which indicates more muscles used, more need for oxygen inside your body for your muscles. And then blink your eyes open if they're closed. So far we started from a seated position on our tushy. From there we came into a twist. We came into Navasana, boat pose. Then we came into the tabletop or the reverse plank. Then we moved into kneeling and we came up into camel. So from here, let's come onto all fours and do a posture from the all fours position. So taking your blanket underneath your knees and coming onto all fours. So we're going to do plank, and I'd like to speak about plank, making sure that the low back is protected by activating your corset, wrapping your corset around to protect your low back. The core is the front of the back. So when you activate your core, you support your low back. Not allowing that hammocking action or that sway back torso action in the low back, because that's not good. That's excessive extension in the low back. You want to activate and push the low back up by contracting the core to support. So let's come from a modification and then into the full version, so you decide where you need to be in your body. Fingers are spread, palms are forward, walk your hands forward, and then walk them forward again. And then bring your upper body so your shoulders are right above your wrists. Now activate your core, push your belly up to support the low back. Be in a place where you have to work to maintain this. Push your hands into the floor, push your knees into the floor, and draw them towards each other strongly so you actually feel those deep flexor muscles turn on. Now you could stay here in this extension or in this variation, or flip your toes under and lift your knees off. If you lift your knees off, push through your heels, push your hands into the floor, push your feet into the floor, and draw them towards each other strongly. Feel those deep flexors activate. Keep your tushy in alignment with your head, not too low, not too high. Either come down into the variation or come up into the full version. Your practice, your body, your practice. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself out. Come down, rest, catch your breath. That's a big posture, utilizing a lot of muscles. So come into a rest position for you. Close your eyes. Mouth is closed. Breathing down to your pelvis. Learn how to slow down your heart rate with your mouth closed. And then open your eyes. So from the all fours position, we came into plank. We're going to come into a side plank, which is a pretty intense posture. So let me show you the variations for this. You could keep one leg on the ground, one hand on the ground, and come to a side version of a side. It's half a moon. It's for strengthening the side of your spine. Or if you do come up into Vasisthasana side plank, this is the full version with the feet stacked on top of each other, using the pinky toe edge to push away from the ground. You could bring the top foot in front to help, but still activating that lower leg, the pinky toe version. So we want to get this lateral chain, and this is going to get your strengthen your the spine, the side of the spine, to really maintain that nice strong spine, which is important for healthy aging, for healthy bones, for fracture prevention in the spine. So we come to this out of an all fours position. You decide if you're going to go into the variation, keep one leg on the ground, one hand, and come to the side. If you're going to come to the full version or the modification from the full, bring yourself into plank, lift your pelvis up and roll onto the pinky toe edge, and then bring your arm into the air. You can take your hand on your waist if you like, elbow back. You want to stack your shoulders here. Don't let that upper shoulder be tilting forward. So either arm is in the air, and then your pelvis is stacked, your hips are pointing forward. Push the pinky toe edge into the floor a lot so that you can lift your pelvis or push your pelvis away from the ground. Push with your hand, push with your foot. Take one more breath. And then you bring yourself out. We're going to come to the other side. So doing whatever you need, modify accordingly. You could take your leg off to the side and come into the variation that has a leg and the arm on the ground, or you can come from plank, feet are back, keep your feet close together for this variation. Lift your pelvis up and roll onto the side, the pinky toe edge on this side, bringing your hand up. Hand can be on the waist, elbow back, really making sure that you stacked your shoulders and that your heart is pressing forward or facing forward. Arm up in the air if you need, and then bring your awareness to your feet. Push that pinky toe edge to lift the pelvis up. Hips are facing forward, long spine. Feel the strength in your body. Come out if you need. Take one more breath. Bring yourself out. Come into the rest position. Close your eyes. Slow down your heart rate. Mouth closed. Breathe down to your pelvis. And then blink your eyes open. So let's come to standing and do some of the standing postures. So take your block and your strap. And then with the strap, if you can loop it, loop it. And if not, that's okay. You could hold on to the strap, but we'll use that. So put your block on the high edge and put your strap on top. Because when we're standing up, we're going to bend down to get that. We want to make sure we bend safely, and having it elevated is a little, closer, so you don't have to bend as far. Because bending is where a lot of not great stuff happens in the spine. So come here onto your kneeling position. Going slow when you come up is another opportunity to create strength in your joints. Bringing a foot forward, one foot is back. Flip the back toes under, take your hand on that front leg. Push down to slowly unbend your hip joints. Come all the way up and forward. Clearing your space, bending your hips to get your blanket to move that out of the way. So let's do a couple of postures here. If you need to get a chair now, get a chair or a wall. Let's begin with Tadasana Mountain, because all postures come from mountain. And it's not just a simple posture. Make it be about alignment and about activating the muscles that are necessary for that. So bring your toes close together, and then bring your awareness down into your feet, the back of the feet, the center of the heel, the edges of the heel, the inner edges are all equally weighted. So push down with your heels and feel equal in both feet. Bring your awareness to the front of the feet, the big toe, press down, and then each toe presses into the ground on both feet. Feel this even distribution of weight. Hands are reaching down and pressing back. Top thighs push back, and then tailbone down towards the ground. Imagine that in the lower part of your torso, it's like a tube of toothpaste, and all the toothpaste is down by your pelvis. Squeeze it up to the rib cage. And then the clavicle bones float up towards the sky. Neck is long, chin is parallel towards the ground. Tadasana Mountain. Keep working on this posture. Push down with your feet, down with your hands. Feel like you're ripping the floor apart a little, so you turn on the side of your body. Tall spine, chin parallel. Take one more breath. From Tadasana, especially the beginning of the practice in standing, coming into tree when your legs are not as fatigued might make you a little more successful with balance, which will make you feel better about your balance. So from Tadasana, bring your body weight onto one side. Bend the toes, knees out to the side. A beginning place could be that you put your heel into the inner knee joint, push your feet into the floor. Or you could bring your foot up on top of your other foot and push the heel into the lower leg bone, or bring the foot in between the ankle and the knee. Push away from the ground, hands alongside, or anywhere you feel comfortable. And if you're getting pretty strong with balance, or have strong balance to begin with, start to look up, challenging yourself with head position. Find something to focus on, a point. Take one more breath. Come out nicely and with control. Coming into your Tadasana, equal feet, thighs are back, tailbone is down. Contract your core up towards your rib cage, chin parallel, head on top of your spine. Body weight to the other side, bend the knee, knee out to the side. Either heel goes onto the lower leg, foot goes on and the heel presses into the front of the leg, or bring your foot in between your ankle and your knee. Make sure that your heel is not pressing into your knee joint. So it doesn't matter how high you have the leg that's off the ground, it's the same amount of pressure in your hip and pelvis. Don't bend forward to try to bring the leg up and put it higher. It doesn't make any difference for tree. But make sure you're not on the inner heel knee. So don't have it too high that it's on the inner knee. And then your hands are wherever, your head is wherever, your practice, whatever's appropriate for you. Find your focal point. Take one more breath. And then with control, dismount back into Tadasana. And then release. So from the standing position, coming into Tadasana sets you up for all your joints to be in the alignment that they need to be to then go into the other postures. Tree is a great place to come into first because once you get fatigued, your balance might become more weak. And when we're practicing yoga, especially the balance poses, it can do a lot mentally if you feel that your balance is weak. So setting yourself up for success so that you're happy to be doing what you're doing and actually feeling good about yourself. Another posture to come into right after this will be chair, because it's 2 feet at once. We don't have to do one side and then the other. So I love to do Tadasana, tree, and then into chair. So let's do the chair posture now. Getting your block and your strap so that you get the real solid midline alignment in the body. Keeping the block between your legs and using the strap on your hands. For those of you that have a stronger practice and stronger balance, you could do the strap on your thighs, pressing out into it for the lower body and using the block in your hands. But I would make sure that you have a strong practice if you try that, because you don't want to put a strap around your legs, lose your balance, and have a hard time there. So not something I teach often, yet it is something I do in my own practice. Wanted to give that option for those of you that have a stronger practice and feel pretty confident in your balance. Take your hands in the strap. If the wrists are an issue for you, go over your wrist joint. And if they're not, come on your hands. Block is between your legs. Toes are block distance here. Hug your lumbar spine with your core. Activate your core. And then as if you were sitting back, bending your hip joint, loading down into the chair posture. Push out on the strap, and from here, lift your arms up. Push out on your strap, look as high as your hands are, and sit lower if you can. Toes are off, be very back body loaded here. So you're in the glutes, you're in the back body, strengthening that lower body for healthy aging, for fall prevention, strong hips, strong femur bones. Push out on the strap. Sit deep. As deep as you can comfortably, no flexion in your spine. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up. Take your strap off to the side. Bring your block onto the ground. Come into Tadasana, mouth is closed. Breathe down to your feet for your balance and to catch your breath after that posture. And then relax. Let's come into triangle. Some of you will be able to go all the way down. You may need a chair or a block. So whatever side you're going to go to, put the block on the floor by bending your hips to get down there and bending your knees. So hips and knees to get you a little lower. Take your block on the side. From Tadasana, you come into a wide stance. The wider, the better. The bend is going to happen at the hips, not in the spine here. So let's set up our hips. So your hips are facing forward. Push into your front heel. Lift the toes up. Keep the legs straight. Swivel in the hip joint to turn your foot away from you. And then pick up your back heel and move your back heel away from you. Push your feet into the floor. Feel like you're ripping the floor apart to get stability once your legs are in this wide-legged position. Take your front hand on your leg, keep your heart forward and your hips forward. You have hip lights, heart lights. Keep those pointing forward. Exhale. As you inhale, slide the front hand down the leg. Keep the arms straight. You're reaching long with your torso and bending down to the place where you feel enough pulling with the lower leg muscles. At some point, you could put your hand on the back of the chair if you had a chair here, or the seat of the chair, or if you're able to go lower. And if you have a block, if you could go all the way down to the block, you're pushing away from the block. You're not leaning on it. Rip the floor apart, point your tailbone down to the back inner heel. Try to keep your body as if it were between two sheets of glass. Don't let your tushy point too far back and your head forward. That means you've gone too far. Come back up. Keep this flexion in the hip joint. Spine is long, lengthening, and then rotate up towards the sky. Push your upper arm back. Try to bring the lower armpit area up towards the sky. So adding some rotation in the trunk. Triangle, rip the floor apart. That'll help give you stability in this posture. Take one more breath. Keep your feet straight, ripping the floor apart. Slowly bring yourself up. And if you did use a block or a chair, move them to the other side. Either coming from Tadasana if you were moving a chair, or staying in the wide-legged stance here. We're going to prepare, legs are straight. Swivel on the front heel to move the toes away, and swivel on the back toes to move the heel away. Rip the floor apart. Take your hand on the front thigh, exhale. And as you inhale, lowering down, sliding your hand down the leg, as if you were between two sheets of glass, long spine bending at your hip. Come to wherever you can, using the props if you're using them. You could also keep your hand on the leg. You could use the back of the hand to get that rotational force. Try to get the lower armpit long and point moving up towards the sky. Rip the floor apart, point the tailbone down to the back inner heel. Legs are straight. Take one more breath. Rip the floor apart with your feet. Bring yourself up slowly. Come out of the posture into Tadasana. So we're going to come into a half moon posture. This is a balance posture, balancing on the side of the hip. It is a good idea to have a chair or a wall or a sofa. If you have a sofa, if you're in an area where you have a sofa or a chair, if you have your leg up against the seat part of the sofa, that'll be helpful for balance. Or you could be near a wall or have a chair. So the block goes down on the ground, and the leg you're going to stand on. Before we come into this, you have hip lights and heart lights. We want to rotate facing the same direction in this. This is a lateral. We're going to be balancing on the side of here. So the foot faces the block, bending at the hip, keeping your spine long. Take your hand on the block, and then activating your core, you lift your leg up. You lift your hand up or leave your hand on your waist. Half moon, turning your hips and your heart forward. The leg that's in the air, keep it elevated. So lift that leg in the air using the side body. Take one more breath. To come out, bend the standing leg, roll forward in your hips. Bring yourself forward and dismount with your hips bent and your knees bent.
And then if you have a block or a chair, let's move them to the other side. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon, this posture is called. So you take your standing foot on the ground facing the block. You bend that leg, long spine to reach forward, either to the block or a chair if you're using a chair. And then you start to activate your core, lift the leg up away from the ground, and then you roll the leg forward. So the toes are pointing forward. Hand is in the air or on the waist, straightening the standing leg, lifting the leg up against gravity here. Long spine, Ardha Chandrasana. Try to turn the heart forward, the hips forward. The gaze forward adds a little extra. Some of you may need to keep your head down towards the ground. See what feels appropriate for you. Great to do this near a sofa or something where your lower leg could be up against that for balance, or against a wall. Keep that top leg lifted. Take one more breath. And then you're going to dismount by bending that standing leg. Start to roll safely and slowly in that hip to come forward, to come out, to come into mountain, to catch your breath. And then release. So let's come down on the ground, do a posture on the ground. To get your blanket. Let's get the block or the strap. We're going to do bridge. So you could either use the block if you have any disc herniations and you want to settle your spine, or you can use a strap, more of that side body. We've done a lot of side body strengthening today. Come down onto the floor. Bring the blanket underneath your head. So now we're on the back. Let's do postures on the back. Bridge is one of the best, I think, for healthy aging. Get your strap and put your feet through it if you want to do the strap, or put the block between your knees. It's your choice. Bring your feet onto the ground. So the bridge, we're going to push away using the muscles of the back of the body to push away. So take the blanket away from your head. Push your arms into the ground, lift your upper body so you arrange your shoulder blades closer to your spine. Lift your head, lengthen your neck, then walk your feet closer to your body. Push your feet into the floor, squeeze your buttocks, and push away from the floor with the buttocks squeezing, with the feet pushing into the floor. Coming up into bridge, push out on the strap. Your choice here. You can use the arms to help push the rib cage away from the ground. You could clasp your hands underneath as long as your body is not resting on the arms. So either keep the arms bent or clasp your hands. Push out on the strap or squeeze the block, and push away from the floor a lot with your feet, with your tushy, and with your arms. Push away with the arms, push away with the feet, squeeze the buttocks. Take one more breath. You're going to push out on the strap or squeeze the block to come all the way down, one vertebra at a time. Bring the blanket back underneath your head. Strap off or block out. Knees are into chest. Rocking side to side. So we'll come into the last posture, another posture on the back, a very important posture, Shavasana. So allow your body and your mind here to stay here. Let everything find a new place in your body. That's what the Shavasana is for. The body you came with today is different than the body you're going to leave with. You created stimulation and a lot of action inside, the accelerated heart rate. all the muscular demands, the joint demands, the alignment, everything you did. So close your eyes, focus on your breath. If you want to put your hands back, one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly, feeling the body moving towards the hands and the belly, and the hand on the heart. Mouth is closed, Shavasana. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Bring movement into your hands, your feet, your arms, your legs. Slowly draw your knees into your chest. Pull them in deeply, pressing the low back to the ground. And come onto your side. And from here, up to a seated position. We'll close with sound. Bringing your hands together. Press your heart to your hands to your heart. Long spine.
Bring your awareness to your body, noticing, was today appropriate for your body? You'll know the days that you've gone too deep, the days that you feel just right. We'll close with sound. Let's do a gentle humming sound. Take a big exhale. Inhale. Hand to the forehead, bowing in gratitude. Namaste. Today's practice had 13 postures. Whenever you find yourself in a seated position, what can you do from there? When you're on the floor on your back, what can you do from there? When you're standing, what can you do from there? And start to develop your own practice so that you could do something every day, especially if there are no live classes to attend or you're not in a place of being guided, but rather you're relying on yourself and your memory for how can you focus on healthy aging and healthy bones for the rest of your life. All right. So did I mention there was 13 postures? I always try to do 11. I got to 13 today. So let me know how that was for you. And anyone else that's here that wants to say hi that hasn't said hi yet, let me know who's here. I have these calls with ladies and I say, oh, how did you find me? And they say, oh, I've been practicing with you for years. I'm like, but you never introduced yourself. So if anyone else is out there, let me know because I'd like to say hi. Hi, Kathy. You're welcome. Oh, great. I love that. Patty, hi. I'm glad you're there too. Great. Lucky 13. Ooh, yeah, I never thought about that, but you're right. Lucky 13, bone building 13. Yeah, so thanks for joining me. I'll be here next week, which will be the 14th, right? And then we'll see what happens from there, whether or not we practice on the 21st or will everybody be gone. So for those of you that are here, who will be here in town that could practice on the 21st? Terry, you're welcome. Aw, I love that. And you know what, Terry? I love when that happens, when it's the perfect class for you today. Almost like, we didn't speak. You didn't tell me what you needed or wanted, right? So it's like, okay, I'm glad that landed where it needed to for you. All right, so you're there, Nicole. Okay, so it might just be you and I. Yeah, why not? I mean, honestly, I am noticing that I'm leaving 2023 very strong. Today's side plank was not as hard for me, and I actually held it for 40 seconds. I don't know if you realize that. That was the hardest posture for me, and 30 seconds was an absolute chore. So to do 40 seconds is crazy. We did that for 40 seconds on both sides today. Okay, good, Terry. It's nice to know that you're there. Patty, you too. Oh, Stevie, I was wondering if you were there and if this would be okay for you. And I'm glad you're there. Yeah, half moon is a challenge. And honestly, I use the wall. I used the wall today for both sides. It used to be my favorite posture, and I could do it in the middle of the room, no problem. And on a real deep to me thing, 9 months to the day after my total hip replacement on my left side, I actually did half moon in the middle of the room and trusted my hip enough to do that and to not be near a wall. And I remember it was 9 months to the day, and I was at the hospital where I teach. In the middle of the room, I did the half moon on my left side. And I don't even know if I said that at that day, but I remember how gratifying that was for me, that this hip that my fake hip now can support me in my favorite posture. All right. So thank you for joining me. Your bones are saying thank you too. And I'll see those of you that I see live in the live classes that I have for the rest of the year. And then, okay, so 3 weeks. All right, I'll be here the 14th and the 21st, right? You heard me say that, so I will do it. So I will see you. Like this if you like it, thumbs up. Share my channel with anyone you think may be interested. Come back to Debbie Robinson Wellness YouTube anytime you need. I think I have over 400 recorded videos. No excuses of not staying strong and healthy. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.